All right, shalom, shalom.
Shalom.
We the brothers from Great Millstone Atlanta Church, coming back into the spirit with another lesson. I'm the brother Nathaniel.
I'm the brother Anah.
First and foremost, we want to start off by giving all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Ruchachodash. Also, double honors to our elders and the apostles of Great Millstone who rule and teach well. And peace, love, and salutations to the men out there push this word and truth and sincerity. All right, so we just wanted to touch on some prophecies, news, and events that are happening in the world right now. And the brother gonna open up with a precept, and we're gonna come with some these articles, and then just move in the spirit. So, without further ado, go ahead.
All right, this is Second Ezra chapter 9, verse 1, and it reads, "He answered me then and said, Measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs pass, which I have told thee before." Verse 2, "Then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made."
Yeah, so the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, we're seeing a lot of these prophecies come to pass because the earth is being visited by the Spirit of the Lord. You see what I'm saying? So the Lord is revealing and shaking up a lot of things right now. So we're going to start with a couple articles. So this one right here is this is Russia. This is FP News. This one was actually published on May 5th, 2022. This is Thursday of last week. It says why Washington should take Russian nuclear threats seriously. Historically, states have escalated when facing prospect of an imminent defeat. Putin has a track record of following through on his threats. So Vladimir Putin has a track record of following through with his threats. So when Vladimir Putin say that he will launch a nuke, he's not joking. He will launch a nuke. So I'm just going to read a little bit of it. It says, in February, I told Roger Cohen of New York Times that I find it difficult to believe that that any world leader, including Mr. Putin, would seriously contemplate using nuclear weapons in any of the scenarios we have here. Now you got to think about it. You just don't make that type of weapon for nothing. Okay. You're not going to sit there and make a nuclear weapon not to use it. A sword is going to be used exactly for what the purpose of a sword is used for, which is to cut and kill. All right. And it says, I still think the odds of a nuclear strike are low, but I'm finding it easier to imagine the possibility. I did a couple of months ago. Imagine the possibility than I did a couple of months ago. To its credit, the Biden administration has been somewhat mindful of the risk of escalation, which is one reason the president said early on that he would not send U.S. troops to fight in Ukraine. Well, the thing is that he won't. They're saying this because they know that any U.S. aggression is going to cause a nuclear war. You see what I'm saying? So we know that going into if you want to was it get that Ezekiel, was it 38, the hooks in the jaws, we know that Russia is going to be the country that actually starts the destruction of Babylon the Great. Okay,
That's right. Okay, this is Ezekiel 38 verses 1, and it reads, "And the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and prophesy against him." Now we know that the Japhites was in that land, but they got pushed out by the Edomites. All right. Verse 3, and it says, "And say, Thus saith the Lord power, behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth and all thy army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords."
so in modern times, that's going to be your tanks, your jets, your heavy duty artillery, and all of those things. and heavy duty weaponry, right? And what do we see in this article right here, right? We see them marching with their nuclear weapons. You think these nuclear weapons were made just to sit there and look destructive, or no? They're going to be used.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm gonna bring out the next article. So this is the substack.com, and this is from April 21st, and it says Israel dumps the dollar for China renminbi. Belgium starts to quietly acquiring Russian Russian assets. You see, so the bedrock of the global monetary system continues to shift, including two profound pieces of news over the last 24 hours that no one seems to have noticed. Over the last 48 hours, China and Russia have taken big steps towards separating themselves from the monetary policy and economies of the West, and nobody has even noticed it. Okay, so what we're seeing is we're seeing that all of these other nations are taking their money out of the U.S. economy, because the U.S. economy is driving the world into debt. Not to mention, they want to build a beast biometric system where all of your information is stored on a digital media. I'm not going to say the word, what I'm saying, because I don't want them to flag us, but you know what we're talking about if you want to know, right?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
If I can say too, Russia is doing deals with all these other European countries, and it got shut down because of this war with Russia and Ukraine. Like Germany and Russia, they got deals to build a pipeline to supply gas, man. Up there in Russia, their main source is called Gazprom to supply that, the gas and the oil and things of that nature to Germany, and they put it on hold because of what happened with the war in Ukraine. So these European countries, you're going to start to see the breakdown of the European Union. You're going to see more countries get away from the European Union because Russia, they the big dogs. You know how Jake be like, "Hey, what's up, big dog?" Hey, Russia, they the big dogs over there on the other side, man. They doing deals, backdoor deals, all right, and they starting to see that the United States dollar is going to crumbles, man. Like it says in Micah 6, the scant measure. That dollar is just based upon people's beliefs, and they're backing dollars about gold, all right, oil, things of that nature, things that have backing to the dollar, that natural resources, man. And it's coming to a point where, it's coming to a point where it's going to be that Revelation 17 and 16, where the beast shall hate the whore, man.
And it's already coming to that right now. The beast is actually starting to hate the whore. That's why all of these other nations are quickly turning against the U.S. I'm gonna pull up another article because I just wanted to prove that point before we went into that Obadiah. But this is Habakkuk 2:6, and it says, "Shall not all of these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, Woe to him that increases that which is not his, how long? And to him that laden himself with thick clay." Now, the thick clay is representative of debt, okay? So United States is a debt-based society that has a hold on the world through its fiat currency, through the petrodollar, you see? So the United States is doing things to decrease the value of the dollar, which is making it to where these other nations don't have the buying power as they once had. So they want to get out of these Western markets because they understand that these Western markets are fraudulent and crooked. You see what I'm saying? And what's going to happen to the Western markets once these other nations no longer want to participate is all of this debt is now going to solely belong to the United States. You see what I'm saying? No other country is going to hold United States currency. So because they're not going to hold United States currency anymore, all of that debt is going to come back into the United States economy, redeeming value for anything that has any value. And what we call that is hyperinflation. Okay, and that is definitely on the way. Now,
Hey,
go ahead.
I was saying like inflation is already here. Like the same farmers market that I go to, a dozen eggs it was $1.79. Now it's $3.19, man. So these plagues are multiplying on the face of the earth.
Mm-hmm. And and the inflation rate right now is about 17%. You see what I'm saying? So that's a 17% taxation rate, coupled on whatever's already been done. So you got to think it's inflation on top of inflation on top of inflation. You see? So over a period of time, what's going to happen is that pack of eggs that once cost $1, now that costs $3, that shit gonna cost 20 and 30. You see what I'm saying? Because it's going to take that much dollar to buy that product. You see? Now, this goes into the destruction of Babylon the Great, because this type of inflation, we've had countries like, I think it's Zimbabwe and different other countries of the world who went through hyperinflation, right? But over time, go ahead.
Now you had the you had the Weimar Republic of Germany before Adolf Hitler came in, and then even recently, Zimbabwe, that was like 2005, and then even before that, you had Argentina. Down there in South America, they were faced with inflation. Venezuela is faced with inflation. It's to the point where in Venezuela, some parts is good, some parts is bad. Just like here in the United States, some jakes down here, they straight down here in Atlanta, but if you go to California, man, that's a whole different story, man. You go to these high inflation places like New York, California, it's a different story, man. Down there in Venezuela, they eating chicken fat, man. So these plagues, they slowly but surely coming to hit people, but it's gonna hit all of Babylon. What like the brother was mentioning, like in the hyperinflation in Zimbabwe and these other countries, it's gonna hit America soon. Pretty soon that loaf of bread is gonna be goddamn $20, man.
Right, and as I was saying, the hyperinflation rate in these other countries are pretty bad, but some countries were able to bounce back, right? The United States of America isn't going to be able to bounce back from this shit. It's going to be too much coming to this country at one time. This country is going to be destroyed. It's going to implode from all sides, from the inside out and from the outside in, all at one time. I'm about to pull up this article to all right, so the world, this is something that's not in the news, it's not even in social media, and I kind of ran across it, and it says the World Health Organization is preparing to vote the World Health Organization is preparing vote to strip the U.S. and 94 other nations of their sovereignty. Move would give the WHO total control. So when you start reading this article, the World Health Organization is preparing to vote to strip the U.S. and 194 other nations of their sovereignty. Now, when you take the sovereignty away from the U.S., right, on top of hyperinflation, on top of food shortages, on top of military incursions, you have a recipe for total disaster. Okay. You got a precept out?
Yeah, I got a precept in Job. Give me 1 second. It's Job 13:4. I'm in Job right now. This is Job chapter 13 and verse 4. And it reads, "But ye are forgers of lies, ye are all physicians of no value." And that word physician goes into the Hebrew word rapah, which means to heal. They're not really healing people, man. They're just, they're not really healing people of cancer and these other different ailments, man. They're just treating it. That's how it is in the medical field. And, by the looks of this article, they're looking to take away these so-called God-given rights that these Edomites claim by the United States, because, hey, when you take that pimp juice you're not a human anymore. So they're looking to take the majority of these people then took the pimp juice. That's my latest term for the you know what, the pimp juice. But they're getting people to take the pimp juice to like, hey, you're not a human anymore. So we're gonna strip you of your rights, just like the Captain Ababaja said yesterday at camp. For these women that took the pimp juice, hey, they're taking away your rights to abort your children, man. That's what this Roe versus Wade decision was about, man. You take the pimp juice, you're not a human anymore. So they're taking away of your so-called God-given human rights in these last days, man. So and that's going to lead to Revelation 13 and 16, as we all know. But they just setting the stage early to be like, hey, look, if you took this juice, you know, you're not a human anymore, man. You don't have any rights. You're basically a brute beast, man.
Mm-hmm. And just going into what the brother was saying, going into this article, it says this last little sentence is, as a part of the World Economic Forum's Great Reset goal, the HWO is aiming to alter a treaty which would give them global control over human health. And that's what the whole thing is to force, like the brother said when he brought out Revelation, the 13th chapter, is to force you to take, what I'm saying, that biometric tag that's going to allow them to track, trace, and dominate your ass. Not to mention, it's going to become a requirement for the majority of the people to get the pimp juice. You see what I'm saying? So
yeah,
I'm gonna grab. You guys, so go ahead.
Yeah, because people, it's a lot of distractions that's going on. This whole Kevin Samuels thing. You had Dave Chappelle that got tackled at his little comedy event. You had the whole Chris Rock, Will Smith situation. You got this Roe versus Wade. It's a lot of distractions, and I wouldn't be surprised next week, this upcoming week, it's another distraction to keep these people distracted from what's really going on, man. Like these people, you dig into the pulse of these American people, they talk about whatever is going on because Esau controls the narrative. If Esau says this is bad, it's bad. If it's good, it's good. All right, because the scriptures say the earth is given to the hands of the wicked, so he controls the narrative. But ultimately, the Heavenly Father got this nigga in a trick bag, and he's really controlling the narrative. And we're really falling to the line of the Heavenly Father, man.
That's right. I'm gonna grab this Obadiah 1 and 7 real quick. And it says, I'm gonna start at verse 6. It says, how are the things of Esau searched out? How is his hidden things sought up? And that's through the Spirit of the Lord. 1 and 7 says, all the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee, and there is none understanding in him. So all of these other nations that at one time were at peace and cool with America are going to turn against us for it. You see what I'm saying? And that's happening right now because you see their number one partner in crime. These small hats, you know what I'm saying? They have dumped the dollar. Now this is big. This should be all over the news. How is it that the welfare state of the world is dumping the welfare that they were getting? And we don't want to. So that just shows you where America is, because if all these other countries know to get away from the dollar, then something big is coming, and they know to get away from the dollar. You see what I'm saying? So you Americans in here, you Babylonians that think that everything is business as usual, y'all in for a rude awakening. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna read another article. This is Al Jazeera, and this was published May 6, 2022. And it says China makes the second largest incursion into Taiwan air defense zone. 8 aircraft, including fighters and bombers, entered Taiwan air defense zone, prompting the scramble of jets. See, all of these provocations are leading into war. You know what I'm saying? If you want to bring out that second Ezra's 15th chapter, where it talks about how when you see uproars of the people.
Yeah, come on. That's second Ezra's. Yeah, okay, I got you. All right, this is second Ezra's 9, and starting, we're back at verse 3. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, then shalt thou understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. Verse 5, from like as all that is made in the world have a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest. So you're gonna see these different signs. I'll go to verse 1 once again. 2 Ezra 9 and 1. He answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs past, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. And we come into that time where the Lord is visiting the world with these different plagues, man. All right. And when you go into these different proxy wars that actually turn into real wars, okay, as far, a lot of you American idiots, okay, you scumbags out here, they got you praying for Russia, even on the fucking Univision TV station. I'm trying to watch soccer on a Saturday night. They talking about pray for Ukraine. You Mexicans don't know about no goddamn Ukraine. All right, it's witchcraft, because they tell you to pray for Ukraine, but basically, when you get into it, the United Nations promised Russia in 1991, okay, that they want to interfere with countries east of Poland. And the same thing happens with this China-Taiwan situation. That land belongs to China, bro. Okay, it's not Taiwan. It's part of China. Just how like the Ukraine is part of Russia, man. These countries want rightfully what was theirs, but they've been lied to by the United Nations. They've been lied to by the United States. They've been placed these sanctions on by the West, and they want what's back, what's theirs, man. And they've got more artillery that's better than these westernized countries, man. And they've got better soldiers than these fucking moes and these fucking has-beens and these fucking scumbags that's out there in the United States military that's trying to sign up for a Hellcat. These niggas in China and Russia, they about that life. You niggas out here, you not about it, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And see, just grabbing a quick precept, this is Revelation 17 and 16. And it says, and the 10 horn in which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. You see, and that's what's happening right now. They're making the whore desolate by taking away the world reserve currency. You know what's going to happen to America once the world reserve currency, when it's no longer the world reserve currency, and the rest of the nations aren't participating in the dollar, the U.S. dollar anymore? That's going to make this place a fucking wilderness, man, real quick. And then on top of that, you have all of the other nations have put sanctions on U.S. Imports to the U.S. So now you're not even getting the products that was once being shipped into the U.S. shipped here. U.S. has given up its ability to produce for itself through farming, agriculture, through steel. You know what I'm saying? Like United States used to be one of the biggest producers of steel, one of the biggest producers of agriculture. They don't do none of that. Everything is imported now from other nations. They're going to stop their imports. United States has already been broken down financially, so you're not going to have the financial aptitude to pay people to build this bitch back up again. So Babylon won't be healed. Then on top of that, you know what? I'm just going to grab this quick precept that just came to mind. This is Isaiah 33. And it says, woe to thee, 33 and 1, it says, woe to thee that spoilest and was not spoiled, and dealt treacherously, and they dealt not treacherously with thee. When thou cease to spoil, thou shalt be spoiled. And when thou shalt make an end to deal treacherously, they shall deal treacherously with thee. So what do you think is going to happen when when America's on its knees? It's just like if you ever watch Friday, right? And Debo went and took my man's chain. And my man was like, my grandmama gave me that chain. You know what I'm saying? And he was just a little punk, right? And Debo was going around the block bullying everybody. And then Craig hit Debo in the head with that brick. And from there, smashed him down. Everybody that was robbed by Debo, they came in, they spoiled him. You see what I'm saying? They came and they took it. My man came and took his chain. My grandmama gave me that chain. Took his chain back, hit him in the face. You know, my man Ezel came and said, "You can have your knife back because I steal, I don't kill." You see what I'm saying? I just gave that as a reference point because when you have a bully and the bully has been bullying on everybody for such a long time, once it gets to a point when the bully is no longer capable of bullying, everybody that was bullied is going to come and get their lick back.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You got it out.
It's like the episode of The Simpsons when Nelson was bullying Bart, and Bart he came up against him with all the other nerds like Milhouse and Ralphie and whatever, and they had took over Nelson and whatnot, man. So like, hey, it's like you keep poking that bear, man, especially with these Russians, you keep poking that bear. That's a narrative that you Americans don't understand. They keep poking the bear, Hey, the bear is gonna make a move on you Americans, man, according to Jeremiah 50 and 51, man. So the United States keeps playing this role that we're innocent when they're actually the goddamn bully, man.
Yeah, they're the antagonist. The United States is the antagonist. So guess what? United States, Babylon gonna get theirs. You know, every hand of the wicked shall come upon them. You know what I'm saying? In the very short days to come, this shit is about to happen fast, man. You know, they're saying that we only have a 90-day food because let me just get it real quick. Give me 1 second. I can yeah, I get Salakia, man. Just had to take care of something right real quick.
But yeah, these are the plagues that's coming here to the shores of America, like you mentioned, 2nd Ezra 16, man. It's like a woman that's in labor. Hey, she's gonna give birth, and hey, that birth pains is them plagues that's coming, man. The inflation, wars, and rumors of wars. Expect to see more earthquakes and natural disasters here in America. And on top of this debt that the officer mentioned, you got a lot of debt, man. So imagine America being hit by an earthquake, because earthquakes can happen anywhere in America. It ain't just a Southern California thing. You got fault lines in the Midwest, Southeast, Northwest. You got we coming up on hurricane season January 1st, man. So hurricane season gonna hit. It's gonna be more plagues. They're not gonna be able to print out all this money as the officer went into. You know, the dollar's gonna start crashing, man. They just giving niggas money out of nowhere. The PPP loans of 2020. They just start giving niggas money for no goddamn reason, man. When has that ever happened in history, man?
Right.
So you got to actually start considering this stuff in your head. You know, you got to be a user of this world, not an abuser. Don't get me wrong. If you got it, then take it. But you know, you got to consider that. Hey, you might have some money, but then all hell finna break loose, man. That's the mentality that you got, and you got to trust in the Lord. You can't trust in these goddamn worthless FRN notes, man.
Yeah, and just to back up what the brother just said, you know, I applied for the EDIL increase, and they just sent me an email today saying that they're completely out of funds. You see what I'm saying? That they don't have any more money. So this is going to be for every governmental body in the United States very soon. They're not going to have any more money because, as we went into in Habakkuk the 2nd chapter, thick clay. You see what I'm saying? They're in debt and heavy debt. And this was actually done on purpose. They started like the brother was saying. Okay, change it and go back in there and close the door. Don't let Ben out. All right. So all of this is going to come upon all of the governmental bodies in the United States. Everything is going to run out of money. You see what I'm saying? On top of having inflation. So, hey man, it's about to be bad in America, bro. America is going to be like, you think that these third world countries where you see, you know, they try to portray that, Africans starving and all that shit. You think that shit is bad, bro? It's gonna be bad here, man. Like they already talking about how, you might go to a grocery store one day to get some stuff and that thing might blow up. You know what I'm saying? On top of not having no food in there. Then you might go to a grocery store one day and you might buy some stuff and get followed home. And before you know it, you become a victim of a super rape for y'all so-called black women out there. Man come in with him and his boys. They literally rape you to death and eat all your stuff. You just become spread.
Yes, like it. History is known to repeat itself. There's no new thing under the sun. The historian Josephus, he went into that as well. His account of the siege of Jerusalem in 70 AD when the famine had hit. Niggas was eating. How niggas glorify these Gucci belts. Well, they was eating them Gucci belts. They was eating them shoes. They was eating the damn grass, and it got to a point where they was just they was in that cannibalism, man. You had the account of that woman named Mary. She was a well-known woman, and she moved to Jerusalem around the time of the siege. And a lot of you black women, y'all got it going on right now. Let's just keep it real. You got the Maseratis, you got the Mercedes Benz. Hey, but it's gonna come a time where you're gonna have to make that hard decision of roasting your child on open fire, man. And that's the time that we're coming into, as the author said, man. Like cannibalism is real. They've already been setting you up with these different fast food chains and the different Doritos and these different foods that you've been eating to set you up to even think of that situation, man.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna grab a quick precept. And it's going to be Second Ezra's, and I'm gonna start at verse 14. Second Ezra's 15, verse 14. It says, "Woe to the world and them that dwell in, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand and fight and stand up to fight against another with sword in their hands. For there shall this amen. This goes for y'all black women out there. For there should be sedition among men, and invading one another. They should not regard their kings nor princes. In the course of their action shall stand in their power." That's already happening. People are starting to buck up on the government. They're starting to buck up on the system because the system isn't doing nothing for them. A man should desire to go into a city and should not be able. Checkpoints. For because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. Verse 19, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. So for y'all so-called black women out there, you know what I'm saying? Y'all think it's going to be business as usual. You think you're going to be some old Hunger Games type bitch, you know what I'm saying? Grabbing a bow and arrow, being the girl on fire, thinking that you're going to save your neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? No, that's not going to happen. Most of y'all are going to get what y'all really been pursuing the whole time, which was the cock carousel. You wanted to be on the cock carousel. You wanted to ride it. It's going to ride you. You know what I'm saying? It's going to ride you. And a lot of y'all going to get rid to death. The Germans had a saying when they when it was called 8 to 88 or 8 to 80. You know what I'm saying? So from 8 to 80, you was getting raped, and you more than likely was getting raped to death. You know what I'm saying? Could you imagine 30 men standing in line to get one woman? Yeah, you can be raped to death. You know what I'm saying? So that's what's the future of Babylon the Great. These things are happening. So you got anything else, Doc? Anything you want to add?
Yeah, I want to get that Second Ezra chapter 15, verse 57. It says that children shall die of hunger, and thou shalt fall through the sword. Thy city shall be broken down, and all thy shall perish with the sword in the field. Verse 58, they that be in the mountains shall die of hunger and eat their own flesh and drink their own blood for very hunger of bread and thirst of water. This is coming through the scriptures, man. Like the officer was saying, like it's going to get to a point where the Dow is going to crash. Like, what are you going to do? All this American propaganda and we're the strongest country. We got the strongest military. It's going to flush down the toilet like that turd that you just got done dropping on the toilet, man. All that stuff is gonna be flushed down the toilet. It's gonna be like the Weimar Republic. They're gonna use them dollar bills. You know how Jake be using the dollar bills to do the money phone dance or whatever. They're gonna be using that to heat up their homes in that time, man. You know, so it's coming to a point where cannibalism is already here, man. It's already here. It's just a matter of time before people start using desperate measures and desperate extremes. And you know, we just coming to the end of this society, man. And it's really good news for us. The reason why we keep doing these videos is because it's good news for us, man. It's bad news for y'all because you trust in oppression. You trust in this red man to bring you hope. He gives you a job. You praise the red man for that. You know, he gives you a HUD home. He praise you for that. You know, he gives you a few unemployment and food stamps. You grateful to the red man, and it was actually the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Shem Shah, man. So these plays are coming soon, man. Who knows where we're gonna be at the next 6 months? We might not be able to live stream and do these different videos, but at the same time, it's the Lord's will, man.
Hey, Slacky, I just thought about that precept that I wanted to get earlier, and I forgot. I wanted to make a point.
And
where it says they should find their storehouses empty.
Okay, come on. Give me one second.
I think I got it. Is it Matthew 12 and 44?
But yeah, we come in sometimes when storehouses, gonna be empty. You know, you go to your local. Which I suggest, brothers, man. You know, going to Walmart and Kroger and Publix. You know, you got to get into these carnicerias. You got to get into these Elamite. The elder Zahab from the GMS Mississippi camp. He went to an Elamite store, the African store, the carnicerias, the farmers markets. You know, that's where you're going to find some food for a decent price. You know, you go to your local Walmart, Publix, of course they're going to raise the price on you, man. You know, get away from the traditional, typical stores in here in Babylon, man, because they're going up, and that's where everybody and mama go to. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, give me 1 second. I'm just about there. Because what's happening is that I came across something somewhere where they said that the United States only have 90 days worth of food left in their storehouses. So this is 2nd Ezra 6:22, and it says, "And suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown, and the full storehouses suddenly shall be found empty." So when you go into I believe it where it talks about the blasting of the hail. I think that's in 2nd Ezra. It talks about the blasting of the hail. You know what I'm saying? How the Lord is going to destroy all the crops so they can't grow. Well, that happened. That was happening back in 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, where the Midwest was being flooded to the point to where the farmers couldn't grow crops. You know what I'm saying? And they got to the point to where now the farmers are actually behind. On top of that, the U.S. government was paying farmers to throw away their crops to break the supply chain. So now all of the storehouses are literally teetering with food. So, all of the food that you get, they induce a lot of this food, most of it with toxic chemicals, to keep the food fresh for long periods of time. You see what I'm saying? This is why a lot of times when you go and you grab some fruit or you grab something, the moment that you get it, maybe 3 days later, it starts to turn and go bad in some cases. It's because what they do is they put certain chemicals and stuff like that in the food to keep it fresh, keep it tasting, a certain way and all that stuff. And then when you get it, you cook it not knowing all the shit that they did to it to keep it fresh. You see what I'm saying? So these storehouses that they have are going to suddenly be found empty. This is all going to contribute to that famine, you see? So, and then with the collapse of the dollar on top of food shortages, oh my goodness, can you imagine how bad it's going to be? Firstly, even if we had hyperinflation, in other countries you would have hyperinflation, but you would still have people who had sources of food that you can actually go buy. You see what I'm saying? Here, you're going to have hyperinflation and you're not going to have any food stores. There's not going to be any grocery stores or anything like that that's going to have food and supplies and stuff that you can buy. All that shit is going to be gone. So you can have over 350 million people in this country that are going to suddenly be starving. You see what I'm saying? This shit is going to take America from a first world nation to a third world nation literally overnight. They say that it only takes 3 days for all the grocery stores to run out of food completely when all hell breaks loose. 3 days. So that means no canned goods, no grains, no water, no meat, no nothing. How many of you all know how to grow your own garden and grow your own food? How many of you all know how to raise chickens or even have access to chickens? How many of you all know how to raise cattle or have access to cattle?
Yeah.
Y'all only thing y'all niggas know how to do is go to freaking Checkers and McDonald's and grab a goddamn burger and eat that. Or eat a whole bunch of genetically modified fast food. Go ahead, Doc.
Yeah, I was saying, like, how do you do a lot of Jakes, they can't go a day without eating meat. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like you really gotta prepare yourself, first and foremost through faith. But hey man, some of that meat, man, is going up. And sometimes you just got to deal without eating meat. A lot of Jays, they can't deal without eating meat, the sugar. A lot of Jays can't deal without eating at the vending machine, because, niggas love eating at the vending machine, the top ramen noodles and whatnot. I mean, a lot of Jays just going to freak out because they can't get sugar. They can't get their Newport 100s in a box.
I was just about to say.
You know what I'm saying? They can't get their Middleton Black and Miles, stuff like that, man. So, like, prepare to see all hell breaking loose when people can't get even their basic so-called necessities that help them get through Babylon. Them 89 cent. You go to the liquor store, you got them 89 cent little short Black and Miles. Jake finna lose their goddamn mind because there'll be a lot of death out here, and you ain't gonna be able to smoke a cigarette and calm your nerves when it ain't shit out here, man.
And then too, the brother had mentioned the women back in the ancient world that was eating their children, and them were women that had somewhat integrity. These hoes out here they have a baby just so they can get a check. Won't give two shits about that nigga, So just imagine she can be looking at him as lunch meat, literally. Like, oh yeah, I'm glad that I had you now. I'm about to eat your ass. So they keep me full for at least a week, and they're not gonna think nothing else about it. They're gonna think nothing else about it. That's why that's why these scriptures. What I'm saying? These scriptures. This is why they're comforting because, the scriptures say that my servant shall eat.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The scriptures say that you're not going to eat. My servant shall laugh. My servant shall be joyful. You're not going to be. The scriptures say that, 1,000 shall die at thy left hand and 10,000 at thy right hand, roughly paraphrasing, but none of these things shall come nigh thee. You're going to see a lot of death, but none of this shit going to touch you. You know what I'm saying? Isaiah 4:1 going to kick in. You're going to have women come and bring you shit. You know what I'm saying? Just so they can be with you and be under your hedge because you're going to have a hedge of protection. The Lord is going to be with you, and that's going to be clearly seen in that day. It's going to be clearly seen who the Lord is dealing with. That's why the scripture says, then shall be known who is my chosen. You see what I'm saying? Because you're going to know because it's going to be evidence. It's going to be clear. Like the shit that's affecting everybody else, this dude walking past, he got a glow on him. He smell good. He look clean. You know what I'm saying? He got a smile on his face. He don't look like he's stressed. Man, you know how many people are going to be flocking to the men of the Lord? You know what I'm saying? You know how many people are going to be flocking to the men of the Lord? Especially y'all women. Because y'all women going to still be in that same mindset that you can use your sexuality to seduce a man. When the men of the Lord hate how you present your fucking self, man. We hate that shit. We hate the fact that you come outside as a damn ass contest. Everybody got to have a damn ass. Like the brother was saying yesterday, the so-called black woman got a booty demon on her. You know what I'm saying? All she want to do is show her stanking ass, And in all these other nations and and all the other tribes try to follow suit with the black woman. So all they trying to do is show their booty too. You know, it's tired of seeing that shit.
Hey, well, they gonna be booty for real. They're gonna be spoils, man. A lot of you women, you Latino women too. You follow the same suit. You're gonna be out here and you're gonna be in a sex trafficking is gonna be an all-time high. You're gonna be a sex slave for a half a thing of milk, or half a thing of butter, or half a thing of half a thing of goddamn bread, bro. So you know, you women, man, we've been preaching to you to rise up. You women that are ease. Even in our camp yesterday, we had 2 women that paid attention to the word, but as soon as they got offended, they walked across the street, man. So, hey, would you rather get this word now, or are you gonna be a sex slave out here getting your box sold for a goddamn thing of butter out here, bro? It's getting serious. Like all these Wonder Woman videos and all these women on YouTube and women empowerment and whatnot. You glad that Kevin Samuels died? Okay, but what happens when you really in some sex trafficking, human trafficking trade? And you can't call the police when the shit happens. That's what we telling these women, man.
Yep. You ain't gonna be able to call the police. It's done. It's so basically, that I don't know. I ain't had nothing else unless you had something else out. You know what I'm saying? Babylon about to be destroyed. We just wanted to do a various topics off of the news to show you all that shit is happening in the world. Prophecies being fulfilled. You know what I'm saying? So, brother, unless you got any closing precepts, we go ahead and close it out.
That's all I had.
All right, Khan. So with that, we're going to end it off by giving all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, L'Chafadash. Double honor to the elders and the apostles, Grand Millstone. We pray and hope that you brothers are edified. Until the next time, we say Shalom.
Shalom.